Some of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa. It is clear that Africa is indeed rising. The question is about the quality and sustainability of the rise. To discuss this, we have Ambassador Daniel Ole Njule, High Commissioner of Tanzania to Nigeria. Mr. Njule served as the Regional Commissioner of Arusha between 1995 and 2003, holding the record of being the longest-serving regional commissioner in Arusha since Tanzania acquired its independence on December 9, 1961. Njule also served as a regional commissioner in a couple other regions before being posted as Tanzania's High Commissioner to Nigeria. Please join me in my discussion with Ambassador Daniel Njule. Your Excellency, we're happy to have you in our Magoni studios. You've been in Nigeria now for some time and doing a wonderful job. We appreciate you here. But today we want to talk about Africa rising. You know, there's this talk that Africa has rebounded, from the doldrums of years past, and now Africa is rising. And so I just wanted to put it to you as somebody with your vast background and experience in diplomacy and also the jobs that you've done in Tanzania. And as you look at Africa, is Africa really rising? Are we catching up with the rest of the world, especially even the typical emerging markets of the world?
Thank you, Dr. Magnus Kpakol, for your invitation. Yes, I believe Africa is rising, and you can see it from the various economic indicators. African economies are now growing at a fairly reasonable rate. Yes. Tanzania's economy is growing at around 7%. Nigeria's economy is growing at around 7%. Yes. And some economies are growing as much as 8-9%. Yes. So in that aspect of the growth rate of the economy, yes, as well as in the aspect of infrastructural development, in the aspect of socio-economic development, education, health, water, and whatever, has made significant strides. Yes. over the period. Like, say, in Tanzania, if we talk of the case of Tanzania, by 1961, we had one university college, and it was a university college, part of the University of East Africa. Mm. But as we speak of today, we have about 40 universities in Tanzania. Here in Nigeria, you have more than 300. Therefore, education and health and other social aspects of development, yes, there is significant progress.
So obviously there is hope then that we will begin to see the emergence of countries that will look like South Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, perhaps in the next 30 years or so.
Why not? That's why they are talking of mint.
Yes.
And in mint, Nigeria is inclusive.
One of them, yes.
So certainly that kind of thing is quite possible.
If we look at regional blocks, compare the African situation, now of course there are some good regional blocks that seem to be doing well in Africa, like SADC, for example, and even to some extent COMESA. But if we take Africa as a whole, intra-trade in Africa as a whole is at best about 11%, compared to close to 70% in the EU, 50% in North America, 26%, even as much as 26% among South American countries. 11% in Africa?
That's a very small percentage.
Yes.
You know, Magnus,
Yes.
let's be honest. You know, after colonization or during the colonial times, Africa was made to produce what it does not consume and to consume what it does not produce.
Yes, yeah.
Okay? That kind of pattern has not changed much. We still produce coffee and tea in Tanzania, but a lot of that coffee and tea is consumed in Europe. You see? We still produce. Okay, I told you we produce gold.
Yes.
We don't process. We produce iron ore. We don't process. And so what Africa needs to do is to restructure its economy, its economies. Yeah, so that at least as time goes by, we can produce what we consume.
Very good point.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Without that, we'll continue to be producing for Europe, and the percentage, the trade pattern to Europe and America will continue to be very high compared to inter-African trade.
Yes.
It's not that we don't have things to sell among ourselves. When Mwalimu Nyerere was the chairman of the South, he could see, when he went all round, he could see areas where cooperation could begin among the South countries. But even in those few areas, there has been very little that has taken place. Of course, the other big factor, is that even the infrastructural development link up between countries in Africa is not there.
Yes.
Yeah, they are more geared. Everything is more geared towards Europe and
but that's
the Americas.
because they are taking our raw materials,
yes, exactly.
which we don't know how to refine.
That is it.
So obviously the outlet for us is to take it outside, as you
exactly.
mentioned.
That's what I'm saying.
But the things that we consume, we don't know how to produce them.
Yes,
like
we don't
cars,
know how to produce them.
Laptops,
exactly.
And things. So
all are being imported from Europe, and now to a large extent from Asia.
Yes.
So as long as Africa does not gradually restructure its economies, so that we can produce our own import substitution production, we then will remain exporting a lot and doing a lot of trade for outside Africa.
The world is
and
trying
very
to say
little.
that we should downplay import substitution. Do you think that we need it? Because some people have said what you're saying, that maybe we need to revisit import substitution.
I believe in import substitution, for sure.
That would be the solution. That would be our solution for buying all the things that we are using from Asia and other
certainly.
countries.
Yeah, certainly. All the other countries have done that. Yes.
Now, you have an election coming up in October in Tanzania to elect a new president. President Kikwete would have done 2 terms, and so a new person is coming. I know that given the peaceful nature that you've conducted your elections from the past, there may not be any direct lessons that you might have learned from the Nigerian elections just concluded. But are there any lessons you think that other African countries might have learned from the Nigerian election that just took place? And after that, I want you, if you can, segue into Tanzania and tell us who is going to be president of Tanzania come October of this year.
I don't know who is going to be president.
Yes.
But for sure, elections are going to take place in October. But again, we have learned a lot from Nigeria, for your information. And, one thing is sure, we have learned from Nigeria. And which other African countries can learn from that? There are 2 things, actually. One is that it is possible to carry out free, fair, and credible elections if there is a political will.
Yes.
And I would call upon African leaders to have this political will.
Yes.
Yes, that's number 1. But number 2, which we have learned in Nigeria, is after the elections, the new president, even before the results were out, he called the president-elect.
The incumbent president called.
Yes, he called him to congratulate him and to accede defeat.
Yes.
This is historical.
That was extraordinary.
It has never happened in Africa, and this is something African countries and African leaders should emulate.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
With your great wealth of experience and background, what general thoughts do you have for Africa in terms of Africa rising? What are some key things that you would want to see our leaders do, practitioners do, business people do, to be sure that in fact we stay on a stable path in the so-called Africa rising pathway?
Number one, there has to be a political will by the African leaders, by African presidents, to bring about change in their own countries, to bring about development in their own countries.
Yes.
That is, they have to put the interests of their people before self-interest.
Absolutely.
That's number one.
Yes.
If that is done, you wouldn't get into these conflicts which are taking place in Burundi, in some other parts of the world, of Africa. You see, put people's interest first. Number two, as I pointed out earlier, we have really to restructure African economies.
Yes.
We have to restructure African economies. We have to produce what we consume and export what is in excess or what, but certainly we have to restructure African economies.
Absolutely.
Without restructuring African economies, we'll continue to be producing what we do not consume and consuming what we do not produce. We have to restructure African economies. And in addition to restructuring African economies, value addition should be taken on board. Everything, even those that we want to export to Europe, should have some value addition so that it can fetch more and we can get more money for the development of our people. And finally, I would like to point out that the African economic blocks have to really be serious. You know, they have to, because some of these economic blocks, they have lots of squabbles in within.
Absolutely. Yes.
And therefore, if that continues to be to go on, then it will not be possible for a globalized integration of Africa. You see? Yep.
On that note, Your Excellency, I want to thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
It's been wonderful.
Magnus. Thank you very much.